Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everyone today? Are we thrilled to be here? I hope so. I'm thrilled to be here personally. I have coffee and several hundred of my best friends and my trusty sidekick Sparky over there. So there's a lot of news this week. Steve, you have news? Do you have news before we get into other news?
I have the only news I have is going to come out on Nuggets tomorrow night about the flight delays that had nothing to do with the storm. That's the teaser.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's awkward. So where did you go? Can you tell? Do you want to tell us what you're working on?
I cannot disclose at this time. No,
Okay.
it is a top secret mission.
Okay, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
You can't talk about things until they land, else they might not land, and then you're embarrassed.
Right. Do you feel it's going to land?
I have it's going to land on my side. That's the easy part. It's the other side that needs to land.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm sure that will be exciting news whenever it's actually reportable news. So if y'all have not missed the memo, been living under a rock this week, Chuck Norris apparently passed away this week at the age of 86, I think, 81, something like that.
He decided 80s. It was time.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the Grim Reaper finally worked up the courage to tell Chuck it was time, and Chuck told him to go wait in the truck.
Right.
And he's still waiting. So, And when Chuck got, to the pearly gates, St. Peter didn't ask for his name, didn't check a list. He just handed Chuck the keys and said, "Here's your chair." So
yours now.
Yours now. Chuck Norris, when he keys up on 20 meters, every other radio on the band turns itself off out of respect. Chuck Norris doesn't have an FCC license. The FCC has a Chuck Norris license to operate. I got a million of them. I love Chuck Norris jokes. I always have.
Yeah. And imagine how Chuck feels about it.
Well, he hasn't come and kicked my butt, so I'm thinking it's okay.
Stop talking about how awesome I am.
Right. Right. And the guy, I have mad respect for him anyway, because I don't think he was the greatest actor in the world, but he was certainly good enough. And he was in the military. Chuck was Air Force for several years back in the day. He got to fight with Bruce Lee, which is pretty damn cool on its own. A lot of respect for the guy. And then he was in a ton of movies. He was in the Walker, Texas Ranger TV show for 7-8 years. And Texas made him an honorary Texas Ranger, which just sounds kind of badass anyway.
Yep.
But anyway, so he passed away. And that's sad. The world is without Chuck this week.
Jody thought he was Delta Force. That's funny.
Yeah. He was actually Air Force. He was Delta Force in the movie, I think. One of the movies. He was in, Lord, I don't know how many action movies he was in. A ton of them. Especially in probably the 70s and 80s, 90s.
The heyday of action movies.
Yeah. And was keeping himself fit and working out up until he passed.
That's what you got to do.
I guess.
Feed the machine. Feed the beast.
Feed the machine. Dedication. That is dedication.
There are no days off.
So one last, Chuck Norris doesn't use an antenna tuner. He just stares at the SWR meter until it shows 1.0 to 1 out of terror.
Actually, one of our friends does that too. Other Andy from Iowa.
Does he?
Yeah, I actually watched him tune an antenna by looking at it. It was pretty interesting.
So anyway, what else is going on your channel?
I have been playing with the ICOM ID880H. What a stupid name for a radio. And whipped it into submission, and it's very awkward. I whipped it into submission on All-Star over the weekend, and I'll have a video coming out about that probably tomorrow.
Nice. Matt rejoined the channel. Whatever. Matt, Thank you for joining in any case. That is Wisconsin Matt. And Matt, thank you for joining. Appreciate it, buddy. And Matt, with Matt's joining of the channel, he is passing the offering plate around. So, let's see. The Grim Reaper is still in ICU after meeting Chuck Norris. Possibly so. Chuck did a Chuck joke about he was petting a tiger. The tiger growled and the trainer told him to stand and back away slowly. So the tiger did. Chuck Norris doesn't use the radio. He just talks to the antenna and still busts pileups. That's right.
Sticks his finger in the air.
That's right.
Morning, Sarah. That's one.
One lady. That's it. We need more.
I haven't checked to see if there's more. There could be more. I could be wrong. I leave room to be wrong. It doesn't happen, but I leave room.
It's just a glitch in the matrix. Chuck was called back to Zion. You're referring to the second.
Oh, Elodie's
Matrix
here
movie.
also.
That was as terrible as Highlander 2, which is a god-awful movie.
So that's two.
That's two. We need two more.
Yep.
Chuck Norris can lead a horse to water and make it drink. Oh, you guys are doing good. I'm seeing a lot of Chuck Norris jokes. Bruce Lee was waiting for him at Pearly Gates. Oh, this is great. We know for sure he did not have a heart attack. His heart was not dumb enough to attack him. That's great. Okay, wow. Boy, the Chuck Norris jokes are flowing now. I love a Chuck Norris joke. Chuck Norris does not do push-ups. He pushes the earth down. Scott, thanks for being a member. Chavez, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Chavez.
One of my favorite Canadians everywhere, Jody, has been a member for 12 months. Thank you, brother Jody. The flu gets a Chuck Norris shot every year. That's right.
Well, I mean, there's only 3 Canadians anyway.
Right. And I don't see Vince here, so.
Or Ben.
Let's see. A new Highlander reboot with Henry Cavill going to use the Queen soundtrack. I hope so, because that just really made that movie even better. And there's our friend Boston Johnny, who has been a member for 6 months. I feel like it's been longer than that, John, but YouTube says 6 months. And thank you for being
Jean's
a member.
Here. Thank you, Johnny.
Right. That is 3 ladies this morning. We are so close to
Where's
having
Julie?
a quorum. Where's Julie? Julie's watching House.
No, sorry, the other Julie. The Julie that actually likes ham radio, not your wife.
Yeah. That Julie was like, I'd have to pay her to sit there, and she still wouldn't watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't sit and watch you either, so I don't feel bad for her.
Yeah, I don't watch other live
Pink is
streams
here.
either.
There we go. 4.
There we go.
We've
4.
reached
We
a
have a
quorum.
quorum
Thank you,
of
ladies.
Awesome. So I have been, and I don't want to give too much away because the video will be coming out tomorrow morning, but I've still been messing with that HF10 antenna. And it's
Did you get it on 80?
I did.
Nice.
I worked on 80 I made contacts on 80 last night doing FT8. So there are some considerations to be made when you're doing it on 80. I did not see that issue.
Has to be expected.
Right. I mean, it's a quarter wave vertical for crying out loud.
Wait, it's not even a quarter wave. Wait for it. Somebody in the comments will say it's a compromise antenna. Just wait.
I hope they I don't think these guys will. Because
these guys are smart.
These are smarter ham people here. Jonathan Slosby. Oh,
Thank you,
yeah,
sir.
you were Patreon. That's right, before joining YouTube. That's right. I knew you'd been a member longer. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. So Brother John has got that offering plate going. Chavez passed it by and dropped in his love offering. So all y'all, help a brother out. Let's see. What other comments did I think that was about it for the comments. Yeah. So anyway, I like the HF10. I think for portability, it is the complete deal. Right, Elodie. Exactly. There's no perfect antenna, only on paper, and you can't talk or make contacts on paper.
So tell me how this thing was set up on 80. What were the parts that you used?
What were the parts?
Because you don't use all of them, or you use them in a different way, I believe.
So
I haven't done it yet myself.
Okay, so for 80, there is a specific coil. There's the other coil extension piece, and that's for everything that ain't 80. And then for 80, you have a specific 3.5 megahertz coil that goes in. So you have, of course, the base and all that, and then the coil, and then the extensions, and then the whip. What was interesting, and I talked about it in my last video on the thing, if you, the one that was like 3 frames per second, oh my God, that was a dumpster fire video. The audio was beautiful, but the video was stupid. Fortunately, most of the video was not me standing in front of the camera at 3 frames per second. It looked worse than a 70s Chinese Kung Fu movie. Anyway, what I found is that if you tune the antenna according to the radiodity manual for 80, it ain't anywhere near the 80 meter band in tune. It starts in the 80 meter band, like, I don't remember, 3.5, 4.5 is where it starts, and the line is going up from there.
Well, 3.5 is the beginning of the band. 4.5 would be out of band.
No, that was the SWR.
Oh, 3.5 to 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Because those could have been true either way.
Right. No, the dip is lower than the 80 meter band on it if you set up the antenna according to the radiodity manual. So what I did in that last video, which is only a very short video, if you haven't watched it, you ought to.
You should.
Right, you should. I'm shooting you. I'm sorry, people. Yes, Scott, it was. It was a compromised video. That is correct. Hey, Marvin, good morning. Marvin is passing the offering plate. Thank you, brother Marvin.
Good morning,
$5
Marvin.
super chat. So anyway, if you set it up according to their book, the dip for the 80 meter setup is below the 80 meter band completely. And it enters the 80 meter band above 3. I don't remember how high it was. And it just gets stupid beyond that. So what I started doing was lowering the whip. And I did it in about handspan increments every time, or hang loose increments, whatever you want to call that. And as I dropped the whip a few inches at a time, somewhere between 4 or 5 inches, the SWR curve moved down into the 80 meter band. And you could literally, by just playing with the length of that whip, dial in where the low point was. And depending on band conditions, well, not band conditions, ground conditions, I was seeing 1.2 to 1.4 SWR on 80 by playing with the length of that whip. I should not make that hand gesture. So
suggestive.
Right, it is. So anyway,
it's a high Q antenna. So when you make those little
yeah,
tiny movements, they move where the antenna is resonant.
It is,
which is good because it's going to reject adjacent signals you don't
Right.
want, like AM broadcast.
Right.
Yes, that's pretty far adjacent, but work with the metaphor.
Work with the metaphor.
It's closer than FM broadcast.
Right. Jeannie has gifted 5 ham radio or FEP ham radio. FEP
So is it
radio
this is my fault. Is it Jeannie? Is it Jean? Is it Jeanne? Because I have heard from different ladies with this name pronounce it differently.
Ooh. I hope I did not offend you, madam. I apologize. Steve's right.
You
I don't know.
her by calling her madam.
Miss
Jean.
Jean.
There we go. She has corrected our at our request. She has corrected us. Whew. We all have grace.
I got it
both
right.
Sides of this conversation. All 3 sides. Yeah.
So yeah,
Q tastes much better than high C.
Let's see who got those memberships, Steve. Let's see. 45 Auto got one. Eamon got one. Mike M KI4MRC got one. W3 Pew got one. Is that on purpose, sir, or on accident? Either way, kind of cool. The Pew part.
Yeah.
And Greg W3PAK got one.
He's not in the back pew.
Yeah. So, Gene, thank you very much. That's awesome. And y'all should thank Gene. And I shoulded you on that because that's what your mother would tell you right there.
Yeah. Manners. That's a good parent right there. Teach your children manners. Tom got a contact on his 7300 yesterday from in Malta and Hungary. Nice.
Awesome. I love a 7300. It's not new. It's not shiny. It doesn't have a video out.
It does the thing.
But it does the thing. And I personally think it's one of the best radios I've ever played with of Icon.
It does the thing for everybody except for Don.
At that price point. I mean, the 7610 is an awesome radio too, but it's also 3 times more in cost. So Ken had dropped a comment, and I think it scrolled past. Oh, okay, there's that guy.
Yes, he's right.
He's right. Morning, Brother John. Well, I don't know where the comment went, so I'm not going to put it up, Ken, but I'm going to talk about it. Yes, I lowered the whip. That was all I did, was just drop the whip, kept playing with it. I'd go run a scan on the Rig Expert just over the 80-meter band, right? Because at that point, I wasn't actually interested in anything else. And you could see where the dip was. And so here's the 80-meter band, and the dip starts out way over here outside of 80 meters. And then as I started lowering it, that dip just eased down into 80 meters. So you could dial it in wherever you wanted on the, down in the digital portion, CWFT8, or move it into the phone portion. So I didn't see how far I could tune it like to 40, up to 40 by playing with the whip length or anything like that. I was specifically interested in 80 in that
because that's the new feature of that antenna. One of the many new features of that antenna.
Right. And I mean, you'll see some of this in the video. It works. Are there better options for 80 meters? Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're doing too. I mean, are there better options for an 80-meter antenna that's portable? Are you going to mountaintop with a 80-foot tower?
Right. And Hollywood, with his 2 cents, he even said it was his 2 cents. Yeah, the coil does not radiate. It's the whip that radiates, obviously, correct. And making the system shorter will play with the resonance, but at the expense of field strength. Yep. But again, it is what it is. This is what I had. This is what I was, testing with.
Well, my favorite thing is when people come back in the comments and they're like, that's a compromised antenna. That's the wrong antenna. I'm like, it's exactly the right antenna to demonstrate how that antenna works on 80 meters. I could not make the video about how this antenna works on 80 meters using any other antenna but this one.
Well, the thing is, and Hollywood is exactly correct anyway. He usually is. Actually, I think I'd have to rephrase that. He always is. Hollywood's smarter than
There's
us.
Julie. Good morning, Julie.
So that's 5 ladies in the chat.
I know.
We're rocking.
Be careful. Something's going to explode.
This is not an antenna setup you would buy for 80 meters. I mean, that in my mind, it's not. Yes, it does 80. I did 80 on it last night. Is it the best setup for 80? If you're serious about 80 meters, you're not going to buy the HF10 kit to do 80 meters for reals. You're just not. This is a portable kit for doing field day or for a POTA. I don't know that I would carry it on a soda because it weighs about 8 or 9 pounds, and those guys are all about tiny and super light. But
Lori's here. That's 6 ladies.
This is a banner day. I declare this a holiday.
We might have to stream longer.
We might.
Just to prove our manliness.
Right. So, I was pleased with the antenna. I think it's not a terrible antenna. Are there better antennas for?
There's always a better antenna. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence.
Right. The other line in the grocery store is always faster too.
You keep switching, it keeps getting slower.
Hurricane KS4 FLA. Yes, it did.
Yep, by design.
It has a fairly narrow queue. I don't remember what it is. I'd have to go back and look at my own video. It was, I don't know, it was probably, I don't know. I don't remember how sharp it was. But you could move the dip. It also depends on the scale on the Rig Expert that I'm showing on the video, what it's going to look like. So when I've when I've got it only dialed into the 80 meter band, which is what, 3.5 to 4? I don't remember. You know, it's a pretty small slice of the pie, so it's not going to look super narrow. But if you're scanning multiple bands, that dip will look a lot sharper.
Yeah, and you want that sharp dip. Like I said, it's going to reject signals that are,
On the
to
other
the side.
side.
So,
Right.
if there's some big, huge station splattering FT8 and you want to do CW above or below, you can reject their signal. Matt is correct. Better according to whom, for what? And in better news than even Matt's news is Sarah saying, we are slowly working to take over ham radio from the OMs. There used to be a time when OM was a term of endearment. Now it's just referencing the cranky old fart that doesn't want to keep up with the times.
I prefer to say geezer or lid. I don't know the origin of the term lid. I had to look that up and figure out what that meant when I got into ham radio. I didn't know what a lid was. I thought it was an acronym for a while.
So give us the answer.
It means...
Well, you said the origin. You looked up the origin.
Oh, no, I didn't look up the origin. I just looked up what the heck it meant in context. And it means not great, bad operator kind of thing. It's a little loose on the definition. But
let's see what AI has to say about this. Using the consolidated knowledge of the human race.
Right. Right. Let's see. Well, Elodie, again, nailed it here. You make the best with what you got. Be happy and don't listen to the haters. Girl.
Right.
Exactly right. And I'm going to segue to a completely different thing. Let me share this out. Of course, I got to find it again. I got like 12 tabs open here.
A lid is someone who covers up good operating with bad technique.
A bad operator. Yeah.
So telegraphers wearing hats might tilt the lid down while concentrating, and the joke stuck.
Okay. Fair enough.
And it comes around from the 1900s.
I think, well, to Elodie's comment, and I can't find that tab, I was looking through Reddit, ham radio. Yeah, I didn't save that tab.
So this is different. A lid is someone who should know better but doesn't act like it, which is different than someone who just out of their sheer ignorance, shows their sheer ignorance.
Yeah, and being ignorant is not bad. Ignorant means you don't know.
Right.
Being willfully ignorant is called stupid. The point Elodie makes goes to radios. You know, the story about you keying up on a repeat, not you, I don't remember who told me this, but I've heard it repeated from multiple people. You key up on a repeater with your brand new Baofeng, and everybody's talking about how good it sounds, and they ask you which radio you have, and you say a Baofeng, and then all of a sudden you have static. You know, oh, you're breaking up. I mean, make do with what you got. If you can afford a Baofeng and that's all you can afford, it doesn't matter. You're a ham. Rock on. And it extends to other things. I was reading an article, and I can't find it, but I know the gist of it. Guy wants to get into ham radio. He went out and he bought some of the most controversial handheld radios that we've ever talked about on YouTube.
Oh, you mean the UV5R Mini?
Well, yes, that one. Ooh, that's a different color. What is that color? Dirty poo?
This is the one that brought back all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. It's amber.
Oh, okay. I think amber's more yellow than that, but...
Yeah, and there's a 25th anniversary Baofeng coming out because Baofeng's been around for 25 years.
Which says something right there.
25 years of making ham radio awesome.
So the guy, and this is, again, to Elodie's point about you make do with what you got. The guy wants to get into ham radio. His first mistake is he's rooting through online forums about ham radio. Right. And he's finding out about all the haters and the haterade that gets dispensed liberally and copiously in a lot of online forums. So he went out and he bought Baofeng Minis for him, his wife, and his kids, I don't know. And he's asking, he is not licensed yet. And he's asking questions in, I think this was on Reddit. He's asking questions in the ham radio Reddit and getting flamed all over and downvoted and everything else because A, he's not licensed, B, he didn't buy a Kenwood D75 or an Icom ID52 or an Yaesu.
You're not
whatever.
a sheep. You're
Right.
not one of us sheep.
And I'm like, if it's all the brother wants to spend the money on or all he can afford, it doesn't matter. And it's not FT8 that's killing ham radio. It's jackasses that will kill ham radio.
QR zombies.
QR zombies. We have one of the highest zombie to normie ratios. Normie to zombie, zombie to normie, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
In this hobby. And people get wound up about some of the stupidest things. It just offends them.
My favorite is the ones that authoritatively tell you something they believe is true that is not.
What are you talking about specifically, sir? As if I don't know.
Let me see if I can find it. I don't know. I don't remember what the exact comment was, but I've seen it.
Well, you
a
put
lot.
it's in our Discord. It's in our chat.
I'm looking for the one. Oh, somebody saying don't call CQ on VHF because he heard that from an authoritative source and then wanted to yell at the clouds. Don't call CQ on VHF. Yes, you can call CQ on VHF. I do it all the time. That's how you POTA on 2 meters is by calling CQ.
You could sit on 2 meters at the park and just wait, and you'll be waiting. I've called CQ on 2 meters when I do my annual POTA migration at Huntsville. It works.
I mean, the phrase is don't call CQ on a repeater, but if you just say, KM9G monitoring, you're not asking for anybody to talk to you.
Right.
So they're like, yep, he's monitoring, whatever. I don't care. I could care less that you're listening to the repeater. That's all you're doing is you're announcing that you're in the room listening.
Let's see. And Matt is right. Yes, it does. It does radiate in the infrared band. Ken has a question.
Which coil is he buying?
With a JPC 12 with a coil cheaper than an HFO 10. I don't know. And I can't remember what comes with the JPC setup. How to Ham Tom has been a member for 26 months. Thank you, brother Tom. Appreciate it. Hollywood. Well, thank you, Hollywood.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, brother.
On behalf of Jim. I wasn't taking credit. I was saying thank you to Hollywood.
Well, Hollywood is a nice guy. Hollywood and I, we get on the phone. If I call him with the question, 2 hours later, we have covered the subject at a graduate level. Graduate level? We've covered the subject at a graduate level.
Don't try to say something intelligent stupidly, Jim.
I did. That was terrible. Hollywood knows his business. And really smart guy and a super nice guy.
So I put together a meshtastic node, and the node has an on-off switch. And I put the antenna on. I put the battery on before I put the antenna on. And the comments were all about, don't ever do that. You'll blow out the finals on the radio. And I'm like, it has an on-off switch. You noticed that it was not on when I plugged the battery in. It's fine.
Let's see.
It's also a matter of heat buildup over time.
Dave, brother, Meshtastic Dave. Dave's our mesh dealer.
Mesh dealer Dave.
I am way behind on comments, apparently. Jody said it came from the telegraph days, according to 2 out of 3 AIs. The use of a tobacco can lid on the sounder to aid a poor operator in copy. I could see where it became an epithet then, at that point, yeah. Oh, he's a lid. Vern is looking for a portable solution to speak with Aries EMA in Columbus from Northwest Ohio at Michigan line, both 80 meters and 40 meters.
So this is going to be an interesting answer. I would say 80 meters is the hard one. I would go with like an end-fed half wave just for ease of setting it up. And you're talking about 130 some feet of wire at that point. So if you've got the room, do it. But you want it low to the ground so that you can get the NVIS type of propagation to get you to stay in the state.
Look at Mike with the dad joke. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with T.O. I mean, an end-fed would be probably your cheapest option. I don't know if there's a super easy option for 80 that is optimal.
Well, I mean, Yeah, go over to your local Tractor Supply and get those step-in posts for putting up temporary electric fencing for livestock, and just put the antenna right at that highest level, and you can get, like I guess you probably need like a 40 pack for 132 feet of wire.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Jody, it was.
But that would be your optimum setup for 80, honestly.
Yeah. I built a dipole and I put it up, I put it up in a tree, but still not, halfway above ground or anything. I don't have that much reach on my throw weight.
And Elodie, I'm the same way. I have a Fang right here within arm's reach of me at this moment. I have Kenwoods, I have Yaesus, not many of each, like one of each. No, I got a couple Yaesus, I think.
Jody, this one is also clear, but much darker.
It's just whatever makes you happy. I love HTs. I have too many of them. I can't talk on them all enough. So, yeah. And when I go to a ham fest, right, and this has happened, someone whose name rhymes with dim was not paying attention at his first date in ham fest.
Someone who is dim.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And mislocated his FT5D. So now I'm not really going to carry a $300 radio around Hamfest. I'm going to go
you were ham shamed. Don't carry a Baofeng to Dayton. You're going to look like a lid. And then Jim lost his expensive radio.
Yeah. It was recovered.
Like
someone who is not a lid found it, and turned it into the lost and found people, and they had it. And,
that was a good hour worth of Jim
angst.
Angst, yeah.
Wes. Yeah. Diabetes and heart disease is killing ham radio.
Yeah, heart disease. Yeah. Hospitals are the leading cause of death, just like marriage is the leading cause of divorce.
Well, respiratory arrest is ultimately the cause of death with most people.
Yes, unless it's 2020.
I'm just, from a professional standpoint, why is he dead? Well, he ain't breathing no more. Ergo.
His heart stopped, yeah.
Jimmy, exactly right. Some people are overconfident in their wrongness. So they learned in the Linux forums, the people passionate about this stuff are the one driving new folks away. It's a lot of gatekeeping. And it may be in other hobbies as well. I don't know. I mean, I'm fairly into 3D printing a lot. I don't hang out on forums a lot. I use forums as a reference material for something and move on. But I mean, maybe there's gatekeeping in the 3D printing space, or gatekeeping in the, I don't know. But man, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it in ham radio. And the guy that I was talking about that bought the Fangs for his wife and kids, should he get a license? Yes, that would be awesome. But a lot of people are buying these things for SHTF situation. So
Doc feels seen.
Doc, you're always seen, my brother.
He treats heart diseases in hospitals.
Right. Yeah.
That's where all the sick people are, Doc. I hope you're doing well.
So let's see.
You got a new member. Welcome, George.
George, thank you very much, sir. You get lasers for that if they invest in the... Yeah, there we go. It takes them a minute. Appreciate it. Let's see. Boy, the comments. You guys are doing great on comments this morning. Want to start a fight in the boating world? Just say LifePo batteries are safe and awesome. I've wondered about that. I haven't tried that yet, but I've thought about hooking up one of them to the boat and at least using it for the house battery and maybe not the starter.
Oh, yeah. Or the trolling motor.
Yeah. I'd absolutely use it for a trolling motor.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it would be able to juice enough to turn the engine over, but...
Depends on the compression ratio of the engine.
Right. On Friday, we had a ham on 75 using a medium wave broadcast tower. He modeled the antenna. It was a vertical beverage with high angle radiation. So that was definitely a compromise. Ken has his N76 right next to him.
We got one right here. Only by proving how much you know shows your true ignorance. Yes. There's this old saying. It's better to keep your mouth shut and have people think you're stupid than to open it and remove all doubt.
Right. Right. And Mike is a good authority for this too, with reference to the the question you were asking, Vern. Mike is outside all the time screwing with it, and he's doing it for 80. So NVIS 3 to 4 feet, and from where you're talking about to Dayton can't be more than what, a couple 100 miles. So an NVIS might be a couple 300. It can't be 300.
So that's my trick if I'm trying to work really hard on an in-state QSO party. I mean, first off, the easy way to win a state QSO party is to be outside of the state, because there's not many outside of the staters who are participating in the contest in the first place. The second one is set up a low NVIS style 80 meter dipole for later in the afternoon when 80 meters opens up in your area. Oh, my favorite thing about ham radio is how expensive the hobby is. We were sitting at the Hamcation booth, and I looked at the Hamcation radiodity booth, and I looked at the table and I went, you could buy everything in this booth and still be cheaper than fishing as a hobby. And I don't mean like one of everything. I mean everything in the booth. You know, there was a stack of HF10 antennas. There was a stack of GPA 100 amplifiers. You could buy every single thing in the booth and be under the cost of a fishing hobby.
Fishing can get expensive quickly. And there's always the new gadget, the new dingus. And lures are apparently made out of angel dust, fairy wings, and gold for what they charge for a piece of plastic with the hook in it. And I mean, let's call it what it is. It's a piece of plastic with a hook in it. And I'm not talking about your custom artisanal lures, because I have my minion at work. His brother makes lures and sells them, but he's hand making these things. So, you know, I get that. Scuba diving, yes. Get your pilot's license, then you learn expensive. There's a hobby for you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is nothing but a...
Not even including buying the plane.
Yeah, just renting the plane. Not angel dust. Did I say angel dust? Angel wings. Angel wings.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
Fairy dust.
Force of habit.
Yeah.
Isn't the biggest expense in fishing the liquor? Yes, Mark.
Typically, because the fishing part is just depressing, usually, Mark. That's exactly
Well, I mean,
right.
they don't call it catching, you know. They call it fishing.
They just call it the verb, fishing.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Steve, entertain the people just a moment. I need to share some stuff, and I will be AFK. At least.
AFK? Yeah, so I looked into doing pilot's license. I looked into doing 3D printing. I looked into doing drones. Every time I get into a new hobby, they bring out, like right at the moment, they bring out some new government laws. Like getting into 3D printing right now, there's the new law that says all of your printer slicer operations need to go through the cloud verification service to make sure you're not printing gun parts, which, by the way, is actually perfectly legal to do. We have to verify that this thing that is legal to do is that you are doing it. Right.
So before I get into the sharing portion of the service this morning, I did have some news.
The homily.
The homily. That's a Catholic thing. The Baptists didn't do that. We had a G3 solar storm yesterday, a G3 event. We had a G2 last week. So it was apparently a G3 yesterday, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, Jason's starting a holy war.
And while I was reading around, I found this website, this solar dashboard, and this is at rigreference.com. And I will copy this link into the chat for everybody. I love Rig Reference.
That actually looks pretty good.
It looks real good.
It looks good, but so at a glance, I can't tell what I'm supposed to tell. Maybe 6 meters is bad, and 600 meters is that 600 meters is good?
That's 600 meters.
That's a band I'm interested in.
Well, it says, so yeah, if you look, let me see if I can plus this up. There we go. Is that better?
Oh, okay. It says good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so good, fair, and then it tells you what the status is when that band is good, apparently. So 20 meters is fair today, and it will be fair tonight. 10 is poor now and tonight. 6 is poor now and tonight. And this is the thing with a lot of these websites, especially the solar stuff. There are so many different indices on the solar things. I don't even know that I know which one is important enough.
Well, so we also talked to Dr. Scove about this, and she is the foremost expert that we know of. And she said, this is actually recorded where it is recorded. And I'm saying that on purpose. I know it sounds confusing, but this is the solar weather in, let's say, Atlanta, Georgia. This is not necessarily the solar weather in Albuquerque, New Mexico,
Yeah.
which would be different than the solar weather. I mean, I realize it's one big sun and we're one big planet, but where it falls on the earth and what time of day it falls on the earth is different for where you are on the earth. And so you have to also know where this measurement is taken.
Right. And again, my philosophy on this, so my wife, Julie, studies the weather every day. She gets up, she sits there on her phone and she's reading the local weather, and she keeps up with it way more than I do. In my opinion, generally, unless I hear the tornado siren going off, the weather is what the weather is. I don't really care.
Because you don't go outside, yeah.
No, I do go outside. I have videos proving
it. 3 or 4 times a year.
I do. It is what it is, right?
Did you check the weather before you went outside, or were you going to film in the rain like Paul did, Paul Harrell?
No, I'm not Paul. I'm not nearly that dedicated to my craft. Paul was.
I will say that's probably why Chuck Norris passed, was to go meet Paul.
Probably. He heard Paul Harrell was already there waiting on him so they could go shooting together.
If you don't get the reference, Paul has a gun channel, and the guy, well, I think the channel still exists.
It may. Paul is with Chuck right now.
He just filmed no matter what. And it didn't even matter. Like he had this thing where he was making fun of people for having really big revolvers, and he's like, this is your self-defense position, and he's like laying in a bed at a gun range outdoors in the rain filming this video, and he just doesn't even notice that it's raining.
Right.
He was awesome.
He was. Yeah, I watched all of his videos too. That guy was great.
Oh, and he was ripped too. There was one video where he was just standing in a lake. I was like, oh my God, you were hiding that underneath that Montgomery Ward's hunting jacket all this time?
The clothes
Paul, get yourself an OnlyFans.
The clothes the guy wore on his videos was stuff your grandpa wore to go feed the cows. I mean,
smart man.
Yeah. Anyway, so there is the rig reference ham radio thing. Elodie made a comment earlier that I did want to mention. Ham Radio Toolbox, which is available on Mac only, is an awesome program, and that is written by Marcus Roscosh, the same guy who wrote the SDR control for ICOM for the Macs and iPads, and the same guy who is a major part of the Smart SDR for the Mac and for the Windows version from Flex. So yeah, that is an outstanding program. You should go check that out. It is not subscription, it is pay. I can't remember how much it was. I don't think it was very expensive, but it's an excellent program that has a lot of ham information. And I think I did a video on it several months ago, but I thought this was hysterical. So Boeing, not Baofeng.
Ooh.
I mean, the words are kind of similar, right? They B and G on the front and back. Boeing has a bill, an airworthiness directive was issued about their gear on the 787 Dreamliners. If they fly through the appropriate CW wave frequency, it dorks up their very expensive, overpriced gear. The reason it is up at this level of holy moly airworthiness directive is that this is the transponder, and apparently it doesn't have enough shielding correctly, and it is a Mode S transponder. And so what happens is that Mode S is an enhanced thing. It does more than just say, this is my plane. It also is, it gives an enhanced radar image to ground control stations. It also is used for TCAS, Traffic Collision Avoidance System. And that would be awkward if you got a TCAS warning or didn't get a TCAS warning when you needed one. And it would be a very bad day for the pilot and everybody else on the aircraft. So
remember when pilots used to fly planes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I learned the stuff I'm renting, when I started flying back in 2005, I had to fly it. The autopilot was named Jim. So Anyway, and again, the FAA said it could cause a midair collision. So what was interesting, and what really made this even more interesting, is when they said when they tested the faulty transponder in areas of CW interference, they discovered it didn't reply to at least 90% of interrogations. So they issued an airworthiness directive. Boeing has not objected. Airline Pilots Association has not objected. Several airlines, and I would not fly on these if I were you. Several airlines did complain about it, but maybe don't fly on Kenya Airways or KLM. Just saying. But I thought it was interesting because, if you've ever been in the aviation arena at all, that stuff is stupid expensive.
Mm-hmm.
A GPS that has early 90s functionality, I mean, it's like $25,000-$30,000 to put in your airplane. And it's not any more GPS-y than your dang iPhone, really. It has some specific aviation stuff in it, but it's just stupid expensive. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And hams did not get blamed, and the FCC did not tell us that we have to quit transmitting CW. So that was kind of a win.
That's kind of what frequency licensing is all about. I was going to ask if we knew which CW it was, because CW is just generic for Morse code, and Morse code is used everywhere, including like hospital telemetry machines.
Right.
Not necessarily RF, but like CW,
It didn't say, and it didn't say what frequency. It just says CW, any kind of continuous wave signal.
Because the VORs put out CW.
Yes, they do. Mm-hmm. And all that stuff.
I mean, it could be aviation interfering with aviation. It could have nothing to do with hams.
Possibly. It doesn't really say anything else about that. In other quick news bits, Indiana, the governor signed the law about HOA antenna restrictions.
Nice.
So my brother's in
about
Indiana.
No HOA antenna restrictions.
Right. So get on your HOA and point them out to the new law. And keep in mind, and we mentioned this last week, there's a little bit of wiggle room on that for the HOA. But if they update their bylaws, I believe it was the wording, they have to comply. If they never update their bylaws again, and this was the key, even if they're updating their bylaws about parking, they have to comply. If they update the bylaws at all, they have to comply. So if they never change their bylaws, restrictions, covenants, whatever you guys call it, they've got to allow antennas. So I caught a story about there was a power outage in Cuba, and this young child, female child, was at home, and she had medical equipment that was not working because the power was out. And she had a neighbor who was a ham, and he snagged his motorcycle battery. I believe he was a ham. He was smart in either way. He took his motorcycle battery out. He had to be a ham. And went over and rigged it up to run her life support equipment during a power outage in Cuba.
Nice.
So I thought that is service right there. So make sure your motorcycle batteries are charged up, people. You never can tell. It is a G3. I thought I saw that. So good luck on HF today. I tuned around yesterday morning, was going to do some POTA hunting, and I heard one station so far down in the soup, it made my ears tired trying to hear him, so I just gave up yesterday. And I had other stuff to do. And I don't know if we mentioned this last week. We have been officially declared by the FCC low risk for foreign adversary reporting, because there was some talk going around about hams with certain countries' radios would have to do reporting because we had potential foreign adversary equipment. And I don't know much more than that about it, but we've officially been blessed. And we are low risk. So your Baofeng is not going to cause you to have to send documentation to the State Department.
I'm going to Boston. I'll see you guys later. Our friend Boston Johnny just got himself a new Porsche.
Oh, don't put a radio in it, son. Do not.
Oh, no, this one needs a radio.
All right. in things around Reddit this morning, let me pop this back up. How are we on time? Oh, we're good. So I was trolling through the Reddit ham radio this morning, as is my wont. And what are our thoughts for this antenna?
What do you want to know about it?
Well, this
Not that I know everything. I'm just asking, like, what are we supposed to be thinking about?
Well, I mean, I know what my thought is about what it is. This guy is asking, what is it? Let me embiggen it. What specific kind of antenna should that be? Or he wants to know if it's horizontal only. So I'm guessing he's a fairly new ham as well. And I want to see what the congregation is saying. Yes, exactly right. All our phones are made with foreign adversary parts. Exactly.
Right.
Jody still has to report all his contact with me. That's right. Yep, that's exactly what I thought it was too, Brick. It's a discone. It's not all of a discone. Hollywood.
Is it a discone if it's flat?
Well, that's part of it. So if you, and let me see if I can make this big enough that you guys can see it. What gave it away for me is this piece right here. Ooh, I can make it bigger.
The shoulder. Keep going. There you go.
Is this
thing.
Ah,
okay. That makes more sense. It's missing some pieces.
Yeah, there should be the elements, radials that are stuck, and you can't see it from this angle, but there should be little screw holes all around this. That might be a broken off element end right there. They go around this to make it a discone. And then at this end is going to be a 2 meter, probably a 2 meter mast whip extension. My first discone has this, which is still in operation. It's damn near 30 years old. And it has a 2 meter element on top. So that is.
So there is an 80-foot tall discone antenna in Tucson, Arizona that you can go and connect your ham radio gear to. You just got to go into the main office, show them your ham license, and then they give you the keys to the lockbox that's got the coax connections in it.
You had to show your papers?
Yep. Can't do anything in this country without papers. That's how free we are.
Okay. So let's move on. This one popped up, and I thought this was interesting too. This is something that causes, what was it we were talking about earlier, Steve, with the advice from people who are just know they're right.
Just repeating, yeah. Just blindly repeating what they heard.
Now, I would probably take,
to be true or not.
I would probably take information from Hollywood on this a lot more seriously than I would a lot of people. But to quote Dave Kassler, everything affects everything. Is it going to affect your antenna? Probably. Are you going to be able to tell the difference? Probably not. Trees contain water, lots of water. So you may have less radiation on parts of your pattern because of the water. Is it enough that it's going to matter? Probably not, because Chuck Norris is there to bounce your HF waves around anyway. That's what he does now. He's in charge of bouncing radio waves.
So the band conditions are going to improve.
They should be. Yeah. And I hear later this week he's going to talk to the sun about the excessive solar activity and calm it the hell down. So I don't, well, and literally I have a Rybakov clone leaning on a fiberglass mast against a magnolia tree right now. Is that the optimal setup? No. Have I made contacts on it? Yes, a ton of them. It works like a boss because it's doing the antenna thing. Maybe I don't get to...
It's not a compromise. That's the best Jim can do.
It is, because my wife doesn't notice the black mast leaning in the midst of the magnolia tree. And my first antenna was an MFJ end-fed half-wave that came out of my shack, up over some bushes, and then looped over 2 trees, because that was the only way I could really get it aerial at that time, and it wasn't nearly high enough, but made contacts on it. It worked great.
So Humongously Tall Vern is asking a question. And actually, I know 2 Verns, and both of them are humongously tall.
They are. It's like a law with Verns being tall.
Yeah.
Vern, yes, we have a table we are sharing with Monsieur Gendron.
Yes.
At Hamvention. I don't know the location. We will mention that on this show and probably on Nuggets as well in the upcoming weeks. But we do. We have a 3-spot. And I think we are out in the new area in the parking lot as you come in from the main parking, the grassy knoll where everyone has to park.
Yeah, we were worried about that last year, and Balmer Mike got a spot by that new area that they opened up over by where the MCOM vehicles are.
Yeah.
And he sold out like Thursday before the show started. So
get out of town.
He had his pass to the show. He had all of his show work done, and he's like, I guess I'm going home.
Everything paid for.
Yeah. So yeah, and I will be at the Radiodity booth again. So you can find me there.
Steve doesn't
anchored.
like us anymore.
Or any less. I like you the same amount I always have. That's not saying anything, though.
Speaking of discones, this question asks, can a discone be used for HF on a radio like a G90?
It can, but you have to have a HF discone.
Well, so the 3 I have, state that they are, I'm trying to remember, I want to say like 30 through 1300. So they're not. I can't remember. One of them may be in the HF range. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember. I want to say I've played with it on HF. I know I've at least swept it on the Rig Expert. But it's also rated for 200 watts. I did a video on it, the Diamond model number, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Discone, and I think it does HF bands. Now, is it, I'm going to say it, it's not the most efficient HF antenna in the world, but...
No, there are better.
It works.
There are worse. Even the 80-foot discone isn't the most efficient HF antenna.
Right. The one I have, the Diamond, the one I'm talking about, is rated for 200 watts. So,
unless, of course, you're trying to impress the brass, the higher-ups, to get a budget approved to buy something, then it did exactly the job it was supposed to do. That antenna looks really impressive when you go see it.
It looks very antenna-y. Can you pull up a picture of a Diamond discone?
Oh, the Diamond discone.
Well, that's the one I'm thinking. I can't remember. It was DJ something.
I'm looking. D3000N, super discone antenna.
That might be it. We'll go with that. Let me undo that while you're...
There you go.
Sharing with
$162.96.
That's about right.
Good thing they're outlawing the penny.
Does it give us the band, the frequency?
That's what I'm looking for. It's actually kind of shocking how little information you get with an antenna. You're just supposed to know. Yeah, no information.
Oh, you can look it up on
hamcity.com.
Yeah, it'll be on Diamond's website, I'm sure. But
there you go, up on top of a tower on top of your house.
Yeah, this guy's serious too because he has satellite dishes up there. This looks like a
worked well in somewhere. AFG. Where is AFG?
Michigan. So,
I mean, it could also be Afghanistan.
Could be.
But there's snow on the ground, so.
I believe there's snow in Afghanistan too. In the mountains, at least.
It will transmit on 6 meter, 2 meter, 70 centimeter, 33 centimeter, and 23 centimeter.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, typically they tend to be more scanner antennas, but they're very wide banded. So, and again, if it's what you got, it's what you got. Give it a try.
Chris is asking if you can buy the reflectors that he lost. You can probably just make them. Go to take the cone portion to the hardware store and find out what the threads are, and then go get a piece of metal and then thread it.
Honestly, you can probably jam coat hanger wires in there.
Yeah.
Just because it probably has the specs, Chris, if you can find the original one where you bought it, and it might have the radial length. If the bottom ones, I think the bottom ones are radials, But I would just cut some coat hanger wire and start with that and see what you get.
So Tom's telling us AFG is air frequency gathering. I thought AFG was the location. Let me go back and look at it. I'm not disagreeing with you, Tom. I thought it was a reference to a location. Works well in AFG, not works well at AFG, which could also still be considered a location.
Okay, so WW1LDE is saying he used it but couldn't get it to tune really well on HF. Yeah, used it on his 5100 for UHF, VHF. And I think some of them might do HF. I don't remember. It's been a long time. It's out there and it's a scanner antenna for me. So, let's see. We got more stuff to cover. We asked that. We covered that one. This one I wanted to talk about because you will have some knowledge on this.
Yeah, he's asking for a 100-watt amp for a Xiegu G90.
And this also segues into another thing I want to talk about right after this.
Yeah, so there's some weird confusion going on out there because Xiegu just released a new amp that doesn't have a tuner in it. And a lot of people are saying, oh, I can just use the tuner that's inside the G90. You'd be tuning the connection between the G90 and the amp, which is already matched at 50 ohms with your 50 ohm coax jumper. So you need an amp that has a tuner in it, or you need a resonant antenna, or you need a 100-watt antenna tuner. And I have all of those things. So I would recommend the XPA 125B, and then if not, see if the ATU 100 and the GPA 100 amp. So the auto tuner and the amp combo is cheaper. Get whichever one is cheaper.
Right.
There are tons of 100-watt amps out there, and the Xiegoo's fine. I haven't had a problem with it. There are, there's just a ton out there.
There's also some boutique-y ones too. RM Italy, and I don't know if those have tuners in them or not. And that would go back to what Steve was just saying. You'd need an external tuner. So that's the downside to a G90 with an external amp, is that tuner in the G90 will tune a biscuit. It will tune a fish. It will tune a nail. But it
will tune your marriage.
It will tune your marriage up. That's right. It'll make her appreciate you more and appreciate your jokes, at least while you're looking at her. But you're going to be you're just tuning the coax between the radio and the amp. So you can't really use that. You've got to have an external tuner. And if the amp don't do it, then you need an external tuner.
Chris has a good question, and I don't know the answer to that. What's the difference of the tuner in the G90, 6100, and XPA? And you'd have to open them up and take a look at the number of inductors and capacitors in them and really tell. Because I could put them all on the same antenna. I bet they would all tune it, because most antenna tuners do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to literally open them up.
And so this guy's question is also very specific. There's one thing that a lot of people miss. Is there an amplifier for mobile use that would be compatible? And for mobile use, I would get the 125B specifically because of the band detection circuitry that it's got in it. So when you change bands, the amp will also change bands. But I wouldn't want to be doing HF mobile band switching, tuning, and driving at the same time.
Right.
And there is a distinction between mobile and portable, and man pack portable, and picnic table portable, and POTA and SOTA and all that stuff. So yeah, mobile usually in my mind implies a car.
Right. Portable is, I'm not at home. I'm, outside somewhere, some other QTH, some other location. And Colin says the Pactel will do 25 to 1300 megahertz. So
nice.
So that's 10 meters, 11 meters. Yeah.
So CB antenna, got it.
At 6 meters. CB antenna. And I'm thinking the one I have, and it may not be the 3000, it may be a different model. I'm thinking it does HF. I just don't remember. And good morning, Colin, or good afternoon to you. Or
Jonathan,
tomorrow, whatever time it is.
I have thousands of videos to do. It's so amazing how many things there are to do in this hobby.
But it also says TX is only, some specific ranges, which I assume has to do with the length of the elements. The design of a discone is pretty straightforward. I mean, there's not much to it, really. I do go outside. I have to go outside to my car to go to work, and I have to go outside my truck to go into work. See? So at least twice a day. Anyway, all right, let's see. The next thing I saw was this. Well, that's not the one I want, but we can talk about that. This guy is looking for power supply recommendations. And power supplies can almost be a religious experience, a holy war, just about. And this isn't about specifically which power supply he has, but you basically have switching power supplies and you have linear power supplies. And the acknowledged truth, notice quotation fingers there, is that switching power supplies are super noisy and they'll make your ham radio not work right and cause your hair to fall out and your spine to curl. And linears are the be-all, end-all, wholly clean power source, like the nuclear power of ham radio.
I'm an old ham repeating somebody else's truth.
And it is, and I bought into that trash too when I got started. I have had multiple switching power supplies, and I have several linear power supplies now. I have several switchers right now, and for the most, I have never had one that caused me fits anywhere I was operating on the switchers. And it just depends on how they're made, and maybe don't buy the cheapest one off of Wish or Temu, and you should be fine. I've got an MFJ switcher right now that is running my Flex radio just fine. A lot of nicer switching power supplies also have some sort of, and I can't remember what they call it, but they have an adjustment knob to tweak if you are getting interference. It has something to do with, I don't remember. Hollywood probably knows exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, and Scout nailed it. That's right. Written by a ham that only used linears because someone told him to. And the other thing I found out about power supplies, and this was working with Hollywood on some problems I had, linears are very simple compared to switching power supplies. But some of them, and I won't mention, are built by the Volkswagen factory in 1968 while everybody was high on Monday morning.
Yeah.
I've had several problems with one, and it was stuff like cold solder joints and connections that shouldn't have had solder blobs touching it. It might have looked like, and I'm going to say his name, he might appear, it looked like Frank soldered some of it. Okay?
Oh?
Yeah, it did. And this is on a $400 or $500 linear power supply, an Astron linear power supply. So are linears better? I guess. I don't know. They get warmer. If you need shack heating, a linear will do it for you. But I don't think, it's whatever your budget can afford. Obviously, don't buy the cheapest one you can find on AliExpress, but, make sure you have enough amperage to drive your gear. But, right, Sarah says she's not getting any interference from her switching Astron. I have some switching MFJs, not a problem. I don't know what's back here. I can't read the brand. That's an R&L one back here that's hooked to my Kenwood TS2000. I don't have any problem. It's sitting right next to the amplifier, and the Kenwood stacked on top with the tuner. Hasn't had one issue with noise. Runs all that just fine. So, right, if your desk is strong enough to hold up a linear power supply, get one. And again, I haven't noticed any. Your mileage may vary. Kevin said I'm right, so y'all need to remember that.
You are right.
Liberty Cave, this is for you if you're watching this on Team Replay, because I haven't seen you in here this morning. Kevin said he has an Astron 30 amp switching power supply and an Alinco 33. Work just fine with minimal noise. Yeah.
And old hams just exploded because they love their Astrons, and then Astron made a switching power supply, which they hate.
Right. Yeah. Astron has a switcher. That's exactly right.
I'm running a switcher right now.
Sad Ham says I have to say it 3 times. Frank. Let's see. Linears are very heavier. They are. And a 50 amp linear is a challenge to move.
That's why I sold mine to Frank.
Did you? Let's see. Frank is better at soldering now. Will we forget his transitions in soldering?
Never.
No, never. No. Nobody remembers all your attaboys. They remember that one sheep incident.
Breakfast is ready.
Yep, exactly, Matt. And Colin says the same thing. He's got a Alinco and a Voltec, both quiet. The cheap one he had was banned for HF bands. Yeah, and I mean, there's some very nice high-endy switching power supplies. And again, personal experience, not an endorsement. I haven't had any problem with them. Period.
Right. And Rig Expert, you guys all love your Rig Experts better than anything else on the planet. They make a switching power supply now, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Is LC in the chat? 45 is calling me out, saying Jim doesn't see LC. Is. Okay.
And right below that is an LC comment. Yeah.
There he is.
He's invisible.
Yeah, that's right. LC bought one from me. So I have, Dave, I think I have a Jetstream as well. Mm-hmm.
And the Jetstream and the Alinco and the QJ, I think it's QJE, they're all made in the same factory. It's all the same thing.
LC, I agree. That's a good plan. And it's, it's early where you are when this thing starts. So
necessary.
Fair statement, sir.
It's not early where he is. It's 8 a.m. He's fine.
Yeah, but we started an hour ago at 7. I mean, it's like rolling. I rolled out of bed at 7 Central Time this morning, which for me was sleeping very late.
Jeez.
I was very proud of that. Yeah, as far as I know, they are sold elsewhere besides the Ukraine. You don't have to buy it from the Ukraine, but they are made in Ukraine. And Elodie says she's going to buy a Rig Expert power supply at the end of the month. Let us know how you like that long term. It looks really awesome. And I love my Rig Expert. I use it for everything. Sadly, for the same reasons that Don does, because I can see it a whole lot better than I can see it Nano VNA. But, let's see what else we got. This is a quick one. Somebody asked what this signal is that showed up on 2 meters. And I looked at this and thought, I don't know. It could be spread spectrum, but I don't know that I've looked at enough spread spectrum to figure it out. It ain't FM. And the consensus, and before I tell you what the consensus is in the Reddit, what do you guys think? Tia, what does that look like signal-wise to you?
Let me take a look. What does that look like? That looks like a very interesting AM radio signal.
Yep, that's exactly it. The chat has spoken. And that's what Reddit thinks. They think it's AM. It's weird that it's in 2 meters, but...
You can do 2 meter AM.
Yeah, you can.
So you've got the carrier in the center and the upper and the lower sidebands. Mm-hmm. And if you zoom in on it, it looks really pretty. But it looks like it's a data mode AM transmission, which is why it gets a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, and that's what Reddit generally thought, was that it was a data transmission, but it is AM. And Colin, that was my thought. It's FT8, FT4 maybe, something like that. I don't know.
On AM? The worst I've seen is double sideband FT modes. I mean, yes, there probably is an FT mode because, the guy is prolific. He makes a lot of modes.
And this guy,
I have done 2 meter.
You sketchy son of a gun.
Leave no mode behind. I'm going to take that, Mike. You'd already got Leave No Band Behind. You can't have this one. This one is mine.
Yeah, there are many like it, but this one is mine. Let's see. Yeah, and there's a lot of digital modes, and it could be the aliens communicating their attack on Earth, and I would not be surprised. I welcome our alien overlords, unless it's a cookbook, and if you get that reference, you know.
There's a lot of references to that.
Oh yeah. I don't have the Reddit post pulled up, but we don't really need to see it. One of the questions I saw in Reddit, and this will start a little bit of a holy war possibly before the show ends. And we're 15 minutes over, so thank you all for hanging around. A guy is asking new ham, and he's asking G90 or 705. And my first thought is G90. Potentially. Because it has a tuner in it.
Tuner, waterfall, SWR analyzer that actually works.
Yeah.
I mean, the one in the ICOM does analyze SWR, yes, but the one in the Xiegu works better because it's a continuous sweep versus I have to push a button. And it will also sweep out of band, which is extremely important on a high Q antenna.
That Twilight Zone episode is from the book, but yeah, or short story, but yeah.
So the short answer is, why not both?
Well, I mean, if money is a consideration, a G90 is what, $400, give or take?
Yeah.
And a 705 is $1,400?
Yeah.
Now, if New Ham Man is interested in 2 meters and 440 and the Devil's digital mode, that's why it's called D star, then a 705 is your only choice with that. I would posit that if he's interested in 2 meters and 440, buy a freaking HT and a G90. They're both low power radios, right? A Fang Mini or an N76 if you want to get super sexy, and maybe use 2 radios. And T.O. has said this multiple times. What is your mission? What are you planning to do? Right? The G90 is what, 20 watts? Is that right?
Yes, 20 watts on the G90.
And the 705 is 10?
They're both back there. The 705 is there, 10 on external battery, and the G90 doesn't have a battery in it. And then up here is my G90 in one of those ammo cans.
Yeah. I mean, the only downside to a G90, and I don't think it's a factor in this conversation because he didn't mention this, is output power.
Right.
Because
the G90 requires less skill to operate.
It does. And I think it has more functionality per capita than the 705 has. I guess. I don't know. It depends on how you feel about 2 meter 440 and D star.
Right.
Is the
Chuck Norris could get D star to work in terminal mode on the terminal server that didn't have terminal mode running on it.
Right. Chuck Norris could have done that. So I don't know. I mean, it just depends on JDJ Quad Zero is saying right now the G90 is $429 with the stand and the digital interface. See, if you're new getting started, the only caveat, and I've said this before on other shows, make sure you understand that you're buying a 20 watt radio versus a 100 watt radio.
Mm-hmm.
And
make sure you understand you're buying a $400 radio instead of a $1,400 radio.
Right.
Set your expectations appropriately.
Yeah.
Which gets me either way, because when I buy a $1,400 radio, when I buy a $1,400 radio, I expect different things out of it. My ICOM 7300 was not $1,400. It was brand new, $1,000, and did not work out of the box. My Xiegu was used and abused and beat up and has never let me down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would recommend a G90 over a 705.
Yes.
In his particular question.
The best advice I've ever gotten in my life. Start with the problem and work backwards to the solution. Don't start with the solution and then go try to find a problem.
To fit it. That's right. Right.
What are you going to do? And then find the thing that does it.
Mike
and
has
both radios will radio, and both radios can be resold for almost what you paid for them.
Mike has a confession, which is appropriate for where we are. Mike sold his G90 to buy his 705, and then he bought another G90. My point is made. Thank you, Mike.
I sold my G106, and then I bought another G106. I need to get back to making videos on that one too, Johnny.
Kevin said he has an 891, but he would still go with the Zygu.
Oh, now there's a hot take. I would prefer the G90 over the 891, and not because of imposter syndrome of a certain party on Yezu's part. The G90 just has the waterfall. It has the sound interface connectivity easier. It has the tuner. It has the SWR scanner, and the 891 doesn't. And it's about $200 cheaper.
And then Hamstick went full ICOM. He bought a second 705 and he's selling his G90. So, but it depends on your mission. It depends on your mission.
Yeah. Tom is asking about the microamps, like the micro PA50, and will they work on a G90? I don't know. I'm still waiting to get my hands on one. And then when I do, it'll sit in a box and wait for me to do a video on it.
So check back in about 18 months.
Yeah. And I make 3 videos a week, so that tells you something. I mean, I could make 3 videos a day, but YouTube doesn't pay the bills that well.
So, yeah. And Mike switches radios like I switch operating systems. So, cool.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Bluetooth add-on board makes the 891 an entirely different radio.
I sold my 891 before this Bluetooth board that he's talking about came out. It's a board that you push onto the back of the radio, if it's the same one we're thinking about, and it connects into all of the connectors on the back and then makes it into wireless audio and cat control.
And Rick is, got to have my OM glasses on.
The G90 does have a small screen.
And it is a wee thing. It is. But I mean, to me, one of the biggest selling points, back to our original poster who was asking about those 2 specific radios. As a new ham, he's talking about a radio, forget the price, and forget 2 meters, and forget D-Star. When you're comparing those 2 radios, one does not have a tuner. One does. When you're a new ham, especially, and you're not on the I only use resonant antennas bandwagon, you want a tuner. And that, to me, in this context, makes the G90 the go-to decision. It really does. Now, might I regret it later when I found out that I could have done D-Star and 2 meters and 440? No, I'll buy an HT. It's not like I'm doing long-distance D-Star, right?
Right. Which is possible, because it is actually RF. Yeah. So Bricker's asking about the Bluetooth Yaesu thing. It's not made by Yaesu. It's made by somebody else aftermarket.
Right.
So it probably works. Because Yaesu is quickly taking over the Motorola thing. You can buy a better radio, but you can't pay more.
Colin, same. I made a rule for him. I throw him in the trash. And I got an apology email from him. I guess he mass sent that out too. I have never I've never looked at the website. I take that back. I might have looked at the website when I got the apology email. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
But anyway. All right. I think we are about at the end of the show.
Awesome.
I would like to thank everybody for being here. Thanks, my charming and delightful co-host. I'll be dropping a new video tomorrow morning.
Me too.
And Steve will, of course, because it's a new day ending in Y. And Steve, what are we doing? What are we doing on Nouget tomorrow night?
I need to let me see if I can find that thing for you, Chris. I need to figure out what we are doing. I have all day today to figure it out.
Daryl, thank you for the tithe, the $5 super chat. We appreciate it, brother. And You are forgiven for being late, my friend. It's okay.
Right at
but
the last minute, yeah.
Team Replay will do it for you. So, yeah, Scout. That's exactly what I did. I made a spam filter for QSL World. Yeah, absolutely. So apparently Motorola owns Vertex, or I thought Yaesu and Vertex were the same thing.
Somebody's trying to say that Motorola, and I'm not disagreeing because I don't know. Motorola
I don't know.
owns Yaesu
I haven't heard
now.
that.
Does that mean that the service is going to get worse or better?
It'll certainly cost more.
Right. Well, I mean, Yaesu did just raise their prices, so that high correlation does prove cause and effect.
Snap! But Occam's razor.
That's why it happened.
Occam's razor suggests the simplest answer is usually the correct one.
Right.
Are we waiting for you for something specific?
No, not a bit.
I thought you
said you were ending the show.
Up. I thought you were pulling.
No, I'll send it to Chris on the backside.
Okay.
All right. Find it. It's going to take me a while to
Bye,
find
guys.
it.
Engaging the button.
Not available.
Y'all have a great day. See ya. Button engaged.